Welcome to episode 2 of 5-minute oxygen not included tutorials. Do you hate those videos where people go on for 46 minutes or an hour and a half or something, and all you're trying to do is find really one piece of information or short bits of advice? I hate those too. That's why I made these. The goal of these is to be 5 minutes or less. So let's get into it. This is episode 2, which is managing your dupes. So the first thing I want to say is don't have too many. I'm almost to cycle 200 and I only have 11 dupes. First couple of times I played this, I ended up with 15 dupes and so forth. And surprisingly, dupes are very efficient, especially when it comes to excavating and building things. So you find yourself with a fair amount of excess labor. So for example, if I want to dig out this section here, you'd be surprised at how quickly, I think we're not quite on a night cycle, but let's see how many. I mean, look, there's 3 guys here. I've got a lot of farms, I've got a lot of ranches, I've got a lot of stuff going on, I've got a lot of operational things going on. And I've still got 3 dupes that are available to dig through all of this stuff here. So when you come through and you start off and you end up with your first 3 dupes, that should really probably do you for 3 or 4 dupes should really do you for the first 50 cycles, I think, before you really start expanding more people, more food, more water, and you should have enough bandwidth in everyone's labor to build out your base. And then once you really start finding out that they really can't, say, service all your critters or service all of your farms, and I'll get into growing food probably in the next episode. A lot of people tend to overdo their farming, and that becomes a big time waste. The big time wasters, certainly in my base, are grooming. Of course, I have a lot of critters, and I'll get into another episode why I have a lot of critters. And then farming itself. I probably still have too much food. I'm still building up in excess. So I've shut down, you can see I've shut down a lot of my food. And again, farming episode will get it. Another thing is managing morale, of course. Most of mine are not too bad on morale. The biggest hit on morale is the skill tree. So even though I've got a lot of guys with unspent skill points, I don't use them all. Mechanic here, he's even got a fair amount of good morale here right now, but I've really got him doing everything I need to do. The big skills, everybody needs to have improved curing. Everyone needs as much curing capacity as they can, especially early in the game. Once you advance the technology, of course, you'll want some farming, but more importantly, you're going to want some people to do ranching. Ranching becomes, I think, very important. And then as the other technology goes, you'll want to give some people tinkering, not so much so they can run the machinery. That becomes handy, especially as you're doing ores and metals and things like that. But being able to wear these exosuits, avoiding the penalty reduction. So when they're going outside the base in the exosuit, they'll be very slow if they don't have the skill. Getting the skill basically kind of eliminates that skill. But early on in the game, curing is very important. Digging is very important, especially get through some of the advanced materials, because you're going to want to explore and find all the geysers and things like that. Cooking, okay, you need to have this first one to get the electric grill. Honestly, I have never used the gas grill, and I do fine without it. People don't care too much about the food quality. And you want to have one person who goes into medicine, initially the apothecary, to make the antidotes for some of the maladies, and of course sickbay usage. The apothecary gives you the ability to make the antidote for food poisoning, whereas this one, sickbay, is you'll need when they start getting slime lung, or if they start getting burned in high temperature areas. But you really only need one to specialize in that. So I have my doctor, and that's it. I've not even gotten to the advanced medical here. Haven't bothered with it. Finally, when getting a new dupe, and there's a lot of episodes that go on this, be very, very careful. The main thing I look at, the very first thing I look at, is their drawbacks. The ones that say they can't do certain errands, they can't cook, they can't do attacking errands, they can't do cooking errands, those are the best. Everything else is generally very tough. You've got narcolepsy, you've got the farters that create natural gas, you've got all of these other things that will affect your base. So focus on dupes that really just have the limitations on certain types of errands. Stress reactions, I don't worry too much because I never let my dupes get up to 100%. So really I'll look at this first, getting these bonuses, that just gives them kind of some advanced skills. Oh yeah, there's another one of these red things, which is noodle arms, and there's another one that's low physical capability. I had one of those dupes, and I actually just built a wall around her and killed her because it was just painful to watch how slowly she moved through the thing. Athletics is always good because if you think about what a dupe is generally going to spend 40-50% of its time moving from one place to another, they're very inefficient. So athletics are really, really great. If you have early birds and night owls, you can put them on different schedules, and that could be beneficial. So kind of the last thing I look at is, first, do they only have decent drawbacks? Do they have any really interesting bonuses, especially on athletics? Then finally, I'll look at the skills and say, is this something I need right now? So that's pretty much it for this video. I'm trying to keep it under 5 minutes. If you like these, hit subscribe or share or comment, and we'll see you in the next episode.